Welcome to Speak. It is the biggest Thursday show of the year. So much stuff to get to. If any show is not talking about the JJ Redick breaking news, then you're watching the wrong show. But we're glad you're watching this one. Far end, that's James Jones.
Are you good?
To my right, Eagles Super Bowl champ, Shady McCoy. To my left, Slick Ric Bucher. So glad you are here today. Joy Taylor, unfortunately, out again, but we got to get to who is in for the Los Angeles Lakers. That is JJ Redick, the breaking news. Y'all know who JJ Redick looks like. Y'all know the team that he's coaching, so I don't even need to show y'all any graphics. I'm going to go ahead and sound off. Slick, I can no longer take the Lakers seriously. Not only can I not take the Lakers seriously, I am viscerally upset with this decision. In life, we have been taught that hard work pays off. We've been taught that there's a process and progress to getting where you want to get to. I started playing football at 8 years old. Played in middle school, played in high school, played in college, played in the NFL. I started on television locally in Austin, Fox 7 Austin in 2016. Then I did a show for the Dallas Cowboys on Twitter. Then I moved up to another network. Then I moved up to now co-hosting this program. There are steps. There are building blocks. That is what we have been taught, particularly in sports, that you eat what you kill. And if you don't kill it, you ain't eating it. But with this JJ Redick hire, I'm sensing and smelling far too much cronyism. You're just getting hired because your friend is there. See, we've gotten so numb to a lack of work ethic in society. Remember, even performing arts, our actors and actresses back in the day had to go to the Juilliard Performing Arts School. I remember when Chadwick Boseman tragically passed away, we heard the story of Denzel Washington paying for Chadwick to go to the Oxford Performing Arts School in England. But now you have one viral TikTok video and you starring in a movie. Now you got one podcast with LeBron James for 3 months and you starring in the NBA. I can't take it seriously, 2-5. Like, JJ Redick has never coached before at any level. Not kids, not middle school, not high school, not AU at any level. So you want me to believe that a coach who hasn't coached at any level, a coach who hasn't won at the highest level, because in college, Sweet 16, Final Four, Sweet 16, Sweet 16. So you haven't coached at any level, and you haven't won at the highest level, and you want me to believe that you can both coach and win at the highest of high levels. How? It's quite literally irrational. The math has never mathed less in the history of mathing, not mathing. So I can't take it seriously, Slick. You're a basketball expert. You've been watching the game for a long time. I'm upset. I'll talk more later. Can you still take the Lakers seriously? What's your reaction, big dog?
They just hired JJ Redick.
Yes.
If the expectation is that you're still trying to win a championship,
of course,
you're the Los Angeles Lakers and you have LeBron James. You just hired JJ Redick, who has never coached a minute. And supposedly we don't know who his coaching staff is going to be. And you haven't come close to winning a championship. So now JJ Redick is going to be the difference in terms of getting you to where you have not been able to get to for the last 3-4 years. It doesn't make any sense. Now, if you're and all of the reasons that I've heard why, well, he could be that guy. He could be Pat Riley. Pat Riley was already in the organization. He already had a relationship with Jerry West. That doesn't fit. Like, based on what? Because he's coming from the media? That's the only little connective tissue that you have between JJ Redick and Pat Riley. He could be like Mark Jackson, who had never coached before and coached the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, they won 23 games, Mark Jackson's first year. Are we good with the Lakers winning 23 games this coming season? He could be Steve Kerr, who had not coached and was taking over. Yes, but he was taking over a team that had been primed by Mark Jackson to take that next step. And Steve Kerr had played for Greg Popovich and played for Phil Jackson. And he had at least 5 rings, if I'm not mistaken, as a player, certainly a number of rings. So, and had been a GM with the Phoenix Suns. It's not just coaching experience that JJ Redick doesn't have. He doesn't have any experience with the Los Angeles Lakers organization.
That matters.
So can I take them seriously? How can I take them seriously? Like, what? I don't even know how to answer that question because
You answered it, Slick. You answered it, Slick.
James, you answer it.
Yeah, we cannot take them serious. This is crazy for 2 reasons right here. It's crazy that we sitting up here surprised. And it's crazy to think that the Lakers are serious about winning another championship by hiring JJ Redick. It's crazy. Acho, I don't know if you know, but the new world we live in, man, is who you know.
That's true.
That is where it's at. I walked into the National Football League and thought I was going to get the best coaching in the NFL. And I walked into my receiver room, and my receiver coach played offensive line. But he had a really good friend that was a head coach, a really good friend that was a GM. That's the day and age we are living in right now.
That's real.
That's why I say it's crazy for us to act surprised. We knew once they offered Dan pennies that all along JJ Redick was the guy to go along with LeBron James and possibly draft Bronny and it be a collective coaching tree over there with LeBron James, whoever his assistant coaches are with JJ Redick. That's what this is going to be. Right now, Anthony Davis and LeBron James, they are the ones that are driving the Lakers. They are the ones that are making some of these decisions, or at least people are coming to them asking them what do they want. That's the only way this hire happens. It's too many coaches out there that are qualified to coach the Lakers. You just fired one that was in the Western Conference and the playoffs. So it's way too many coaches for us to be sitting here talking about JJ Redick with no experience is the head coach of the Lakers if LeBron James is not your friend or vouching for you. So it's crazy on both ends because it's crazy to think that they weren't going to hire him, and it's crazy to think that they finna have some wild success with JJ Redick.
Real quick, I'm just curious to know. That lineman, that was your coach.
No names. You see I ain't touching
no name. I just want to know, like, if you ran like a comeback route or a post corner,
So this is
would
what
he try to correct you?
This is what I would say.
I just want to know, though.
He taught paper routes because he did not know.
Okay.
So all he could teach us is the playbook.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
the plays, right?
And I'm like, hey, bro, Richard Sherman in front of me in press coverage. Darrell Reeves, I can't run paper routes against these dudes. Don't know how to coach you how to run no paper routes.
That's like a newspaper.
That's pretty funny. You know what? I'm going to go in a different direction, guys. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. Before I give it a yes, I do want to say I kind of do agree with you guys as far as this. He has no real experience, right? Like, why would you hire him? And it may be because he knows LeBron James or et cetera. He may seem super smart on TV, right? So I get you guys, right? And I was big on, like, there's so many other coaches that are qualified. Like, the Celtics just won a championship. They just did that, right? They couldn't get over the hump. They finally did. A guy like Sam Cassell, who was a hell of a player, who was a champion, right? And as a player, as a champion, as a coach. You go from a winning franchise with the Celtics, right? You take that same thing to the Lakers, right? That's what it's about. What have you done? Your resume. Okay, he's a great player, right? Okay, great leader, great point guard. Okay, a champion as a player, champion as a coach. Like, those things matter. So I would take a guy like that, who's a player and as a coach. But I'm going to go another direction and say this. I'm always excited when players get the chance to become coaches. I think that in all sports, there should be more players that are head coaches, more players that are coordinators, and more players in the front office with the GM stuff. I believe in it. So I'm just being optimistic about this. Hopefully, JJ Redick can pull this thing together. Has a really, really good roster, good team, right? Got some superstars, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. So hopefully they make this thing work. I'm just being optimistic about it.
I hear you, Shady. I hear you, because I like when players become coaches, too. But not if you cheat the system. Darvin Ham played ball, if I'm not mistaken. Darvin Ham, actually, there's a picture of him playing against LeBron James. And Darvin Ham still coached on the Bucks bench, and the Bucks ultimately ended up winning a championship in that 2001 season. And Darvin Ham became a head coach. Like, I'm all for players being coaches, but not at the expense of players who become coaches that actually go through the grind. My man had a podcast, y'all. I really hate how, even in society has become so distant to certain things that we're numb to certain things. Like, 50 years ago, it would have been wild. And I was like, oh, yeah, that happened? Oh, I'm not surprised. This is wild. He had a podcast, and he is coaching an organization that Phil Jackson once coached, that Pat Riley once coached, one of the greatest, most winningest organizations in the history of the NBA. Prior to 72 hours ago, they were tied for the winningest NBA organization. And JJ Redick, off a podcast, I'm not saying he won't succeed. He may. But there's no data to support the hire, and there's no data to support success.
See, but I don't like that, though. I don't like that approach. I don't like that take.
Why?
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I come from a background where everything ain't fair. And coach going to treat me different than going to treat you. Right? And on TV, they might treat you different than they're going to treat me. That's how it works. And I get it. I guess it's a You got to earn everything. Everything ain't earned, though.
But in sports on the field,
that's the world we live in, man. I just told my son this 2 weeks ago, right? He in school, his school's almost out, and, you know, one of his classmates is saying, like, basically making fun of him because, you know, the clothes he may wear is nice and expensive, or the stuff he comes from, he think he just got it easy. And I say to my son, right? We're not fair. The other day I was watching the breakdowns of the the NBA draft, all the prospects, right? You got some guys from this school, that school, and all that stuff. And one of the guys talked about the most out of everybody is who?
Bronny.
I don't even know who the first player in the draft's going to be. You know why? Because everything we keep hearing about is Bronny James. And guess what? I'm okay with that. Because everything ain't fair. There's people that, oh, man, well, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. So what? So my thing to you is, yes, I get it, right? If it was me and I'm the Lakers, I'll probably go out there and get some different candidates for the job, but they picked JJ Redick. I and you cannot hate and be mad because they picked that. Just because he has no experience and all that. That's how it works, Acho.
I would be okay with unfair if we knew unfair had a track record of success. For example, Kyle Shanahan. Some might suggest that Kyle Shanahan shouldn't have been on that Washington staff with his pops. Some might suggest that Kyle Shanahan shouldn't have got that opportunity with the Houston Texans when he was the quarterback coach. You might suggest that Kyle Shanahan shouldn't have been the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons to go to a Super Bowl. You might suggest he shouldn't have been there, but there's a track record of young coaches, Sean McVay, of young coaches, Mike Tomlin, with success. There is no track record of a coach of JJ Redick's playing caliber and lack of coaching caliber having success in the NBA. Look at Steve Nash, family, and Steve Nash was an MVP, so dare I disrespect Steve Nash and compare the two. But Steve Nash had no coaching experience at any level, and Steve Nash went to the Nets, and y'all saw how that imploded within a season. A season. If you want to bring up Steve Kerr, I won't even talk about how he was in the front office. What I will talk about is this. He played for Pop, and he played for Phil Jackson. Where I'm at, Slick, is where are the days of getting it out the mud? I was looking up Phil Jackson before the show. Bro, Phil Jackson coached in, I can't even pronounce the teams. Like
Cross Seas, right?
Quinneball, whatever.
Continental Basketball Association.
Like,
and they was cutting the chicken's head off in the crowd. Y'all remember that?
Phil Jackson coached for like 13 years before he coached the Bulls, and then he was an assistant.
They called it the Cockroach League.
Bro, think about Pop. Pop sat on the bench under Donnie Nelson with the Warriors.
I was there.
Before he became a coach. And now you just got to do a podcast? Lord, help us. How?
But Slick,
know the right people. Got to do the pod with the right
Slick
people.
know this better anyway. So at that time when Phil Jackson became the coach, he shouldn't have been the head coach of the Bulls. Now, it worked out. But that year, the year before, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Am I correct?
Yes. But again, he had been around the team.
He's an assistant there.
He had coached, and then he understood what he was walking into, and they understood the dynamics. Same with Pat Riley. Like, that was an intentional move because of the character of Pat Riley. Because he had been around all those players. He'd been around that locker room. They felt like he had something. That's not... And the guy who's going to pay the biggest price for this, for me, is JJ Redick. Be careful of what you ask for and what you get. Because this is really going to come down to who you put on his staff. And... this could be the beginning and the end of if he has coaching aspirations. Like, I'll go back to, so when I first started my career, had an internship with Sports Illustrated, thought I was going to go right back to the big time, right? And I had to work my way up. I was covering high school sports. Like, I'm a year out of an Ivy League school. All my buddies are like working for Morgan Stanley. They're banker. They're doing all this stuff, man. I'm thinking, where did I go wrong, right? But it taught me the rudiments that have served me for the rest of my career. And so no matter where I went, it didn't matter who I worked for. I knew I could do the job. I knew how to do it, right? And I saw, conversely, people at Sports Illustrated who did go right back, or when I got to ESPN, people who were there, who started their careers there. And when they didn't have the name behind them, they didn't know how to do the job. And their careers flatlined or fell off. And so that, for me, is where JJ is. Like, it's all in. Because it's not just you're going to the Charlotte Hornets. Or you're going, this is the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James with the expectations. Those are through the roof. And so I just, I feel for what JJ is walking into. I understand you can't say, how do you say no to this opportunity?
Yeah.
But my goodness, like if it blows up, or any of us, let's put it this way. We talked about this earlier. Like because we've been hearing this drumbeat for a while, right? If we had never heard that Redick was a candidate, and we heard all about like Dan Hurley and James Reagan, and we woke up this morning, we heard JJ Redick's just been hired as the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, our minds would be blown. How the hell did this possibly happen? To me, if we look at it through that prism, that is what makes this so crazy.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it's crazy and it's zero pressure on JJ Redick. Right, we already saying that we don't got no expectations for this team because he has zero experience in coaching and all that. Obviously, coaching wasn't something that he wanted to do because he ain't coached the youth level, the AAU level, the college level, the high school level. He ain't coached no levels. So if it don't work out for him, you know where he's going to end up? Back on the TV, talking basketball, back on the podcast with LeBron, talking basketball. So it's no pressure on him. It's crazy because the Lakers want the world to believe that they are competing for a championship. And when you hire a coach with no experience at no level, I can't sit here and believe you and just because you got LeBron James that you trying to compete for a championship. LeBron ain't been in a championship in a while. I don't know if people know that. But they ain't been there in a minute. So it's not like LeBron James is 25 years old just walking into these 10 finals appearances that he used to do. He ain't been there in a minute. Now you get a coach with no coaching experience that's going to have everybody in his ear. Like, he don't have a plan of how to run an organization. He never has. So you're going to have a lot of people in your ear and a lot of help. And that is going to cause a lot of chaos on the court and off the court.
Is it like a big grace period, you think, with JJ Redick not winning right away? Because I feel like if a regular coach with the Lakers and they just hired him and he don't do well, it's like you're not going to be tripping. But I guess for JJ Redick, it's like this hiring is so surprising. The alarm is like, okay, if he don't win it right away, I'm sure everybody's going to be on him.
Well, LeBron. JJ's LeBron's coach. So JJ got to win. LeBron only got, what, 2 more good ones in him? 2, 3, 4?
I don't know.
At most.
Like 4 or 5, maybe.
Maybe 4 or 5. But I don't think so. But either way, I won't doubt the man. But JJ got to win under LeBron's timing because he's LeBron's coach.
So when you saying LeBron's duration of
correct.
But we're talking about winning, though, real quick. So we're talking about winning. What he got to win? A championship? They just fired a coach that was in the Western Conference Finals. So you telling me that JJ Redick has to win a championship? Are they going to fire him?
Here's the other crazy part. Here's the other crazy part of this. Like, anybody who's going to try to sell the idea that, well, JJ, they had their eye on him. They saw him as the next Pat Riley. Like, they saw something that no one else saw. Okay, so then why didn't you hire him right away? Why did you actually make an offer to Danny Hurley?
He's a better prospect. He's a better offer, better coach.
Okay. But if he's a better coach, then why didn't you make an offer to get him? Like, why? You're the Los Angeles Lakers, and you're supposedly playing for championships, and you take a flyer at a coach and see if you can get him on the cheap, and you couldn't, so now we're going to go back to the drawing board to the guy that we said is not as good as this guy. Like, help me understand.
Does he get that same? Does he get that same contract? Or you think offer?
No, it's not as long. I don't think it's as long, right?
It hasn't come out.
Right. The numbers hasn't come out, but
no details.
I just, getting back to the original question, should I take them seriously? Where you went from, you're going to plan B or C, and you're supposedly playing for championships. I'm supposed to take that seriously?
We got a lot more to discuss. There is no more important conversation in sports today than the one that we are having, and if any other show is talking about anything else, they're wasting your time. When we return, is LeBron James too powerful? After seeing this JJ Redick hire, his co-podcast host, this is the question that must be answered. Is LeBron too powerful for his own good? That's next on Speak. Don't forget, check us out every day on the Fox Sports Channel on Sirius XM.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.